what was interesting is like watching some of this media day and watching these guys. There is so many good fights on this card that if you're a diehard UFC fan, you could literally just talk about fucking not going out on a Saturday night,
Yeah.
bro. If you're fucking a real like loner and you got nothing going on and you just cover the UFC, this is the perfect thing for you.
Yeah,
Because
facts.
these 4 hours right now, bro, like it was really good. I like watching it just because I'm intrigued and I want to hear what they say. Like, bro, Yuri is fucking.
I haven't listened to that one yet.
He he look. You know the guy on A Beautiful Mind?
No.
You ever watch A Beautiful Mind?
No.
The guy like he's okay. So Beautiful Mind is a guy that's super autistic, super smart math.
Okay.
Remember in The Hangover when they take homeboy to go to the casino and he's doing all like the math and shit?
I think so.
So that's Yuri. Every time he gets asked a question, he's all like,
Yeah. It goes introspective for a minute.
yeah, like I don't know if he's on the. I don't know. He's this is an interesting. He said they asked him. This is why I love this shit. They asked him, it's like, so is Jamahal Hill the next best fighter besides Alex Pereira? And he kind of takes it all in. Who? No. I'm the best fighter to be fighting. To be fighting yourself? I don't know.
So that's all he said, that I'm the best fighter to be fighting, and then he's like, that was the end of the answer?
But pretty much, he was like, they asked him, like, is Jamahal Hill the next best fighter besides Alex Pereira that you should be fighting?
Yeah.
Who? And he's like, no, I'm the best fighter should be fighting. Like, I don't like, he's just great, dog.
Nah, I saw another tweet where they said, like, when they met today, when they shook hands on Embedded, they said, what was it? CTE meets schizo.
Oh my god. No, it was just super interesting to watch. And then he was talking about Mexico because he was down in Mexico training. He was talking about my people and shit. And he goes, yeah, they're very rare. I'm like, what does that mean? And he goes, they're very direct. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of true. I mean, if you go down to Mexico, they're gonna be very direct. Either they love you, they hate you. And he was like, if they love you, they're gonna tell you they love you. If they hate you, they're gonna tell you they hate you. I was like, that's true, because if you know a Latina, she's gonna be super direct with your ass. Watch out, fire's about to happen. And he was saying like maybe in the European countries they're a little bit more cordial.
Oh, okay.
That's
more polite or something like that.
Yeah, and I can see that. See that because you think even Brazilians, bro, they're very direct. South Americans, like they're very direct in your face and shit with shit.
Yeah.
Even Americans though, we're direct as fuck. Most of us.
Pretty direct, yeah, I would say. I guess. I mean, even like Russians are pretty direct too, if you'd ask me.
Yeah, people in the Middle East, yeah. A lot of people are.
Right.
So it's perspective, right? And then Merab too, he had said something about Umar saying that he basically hasn't really fought anybody, and because he's Habib's cousin, that basically this is kind of why he's been given a chance. He goes, he still thinks he's good and he's young. Probably will have a lot to do in here. He's not going to win today, but it was kind of, he threw a little shade and shit.
Yeah. So I also kind of watched that too. I didn't have too many takeaways because, like you said, you know, with Umar and Merab and stuff, they just don't really have too much shit to talk about each other. But to break some of this stuff down, because there's not too much trash talking and beef, right? There's just a lot of like breakdown to do on this one.
And he did bring up like when Umar had said, "Hey, you know, well, what are you gonna do about it? Like, you know, I don't like you." And then he goes, and then
he's like, "You're not my father."
Yeah, and then he was like, when I confronted about him, he was like trying to take a step back, like, "Nah, you know, I didn't really say that." I was like, "Nah." Then he felt like that was disrespectful. And you know, especially when he said, "Well, what are you gonna do about it?" It's like, "Oh, that is a little disrespectful shit." I'd take that, you know, I take that to heart too. So you know what I mean. But then we try to backtrack it. Yeah, like, I can see why Merab was rubbed the wrong way if that's what happened.
Well, I mean, I guess also, right, because I would even argue, like, who gives a fuck about the respect anyway? Like, you guys are gonna fight. But I guess too, Merab saying like, we were cool before this, and now like to act like you don't fuck with me is kind of like, that's why it's like pretty disrespectful, because like you cared about like being polite to me, you know, before we got booked, and then you started being not polite once you wanted to fight me. So I guess that's one of the big things too, is the face change.
And do you think it's a good? This is a good question. Do you think once fighters realize, okay, hey, we're gonna be booked, we need to kind of sell the fight a little bit and have some type of animosity, that you kind of change your tactics a little bit and how you behave?
I mean, let me give you, Jamahal Hill. Mm-hmm. I mean, it seems like Umar has done that, but there's an argument that like Ali is the one tweeting those things, right? So
I guess.
Yeah, that's like the argument, right? Whenever these guys tweet out trash talk, they're like, Ali, get off the account.
You mean Ali, the manager?
Yeah, their manager, Ali.
Okay, got you.
You gotta Google him.
No. That's who we met. I mean, we at the event.
Correct. But he's also like, he has a big beef with Conor. There's like some history you got to look into for him, because he's kind of like a main character in Khabib's camp. Like that's why I kind of bring him up a lot, because he's like, they've put him up to like a main character.
Okay.
So he's such a main character that he manages them, and apparently because they have been bad at English in the past, so he's taken over and really, because like you say, when you don't speak English, you're bad at trash talking. Like sure, you can learn the language, but trash talking is another ballgame.
Right.
This is where Ali steps in. So that's why nobody ever believes when Umar...
He adds fuel to the fire.
He adds fuel to the fire, but nobody ever buys it. All the fans are kind of like, okay, Ali, no matter whose account it comes from.
Gotcha.
And so I'm trying to say, Merab's mad about some of those tweets because he's crediting Umar. And I'm trying to say, it might not have even been Umar. You know what I'm saying? Because you're asking me.
So Ali has access to the account, so he could be doing like ghost tweeting and shit.
Right. He ghost tweets for sure. So you're asking me, does like Umar switch it up? Right, and I'm kind of saying like it could be Umar because he has switched it up. He has been talking shit, but I think it's Ali.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
And I think another example to what you're asking is Jamahal Hill. That's why he has a lot of fans not liking him right now, because of how much he kind of like amps him up and riles him up. But I mean, I understand the game. So if I was in Jamal's position and I was getting that much attention from riling at fans, I'd probably step into it too. Yeah.
Step into it,
yeah.
Play the heel a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The more I'm learning about this, and the more I told you, like I've never been a WWE fan, and I was watching some of these documentaries with like Vince McMahon,
mm-hmm.
and even some of those A&E documentaries they have, about these legends, and Spike TV has some really good ones too. Behind the Ring, or
Dark Side
of the Ring, yeah. It's interesting to see the formula of how they create drama.
Mm-hmm.
And the UFC can take some of that recipe to add more drama, because that does bring you in, it does kind of get you more involved, to pick a side, to build your fan base, and the smart ones roll with that. Like you just said, like you got to step into it.
Yeah. I actually tweeted,
love you or hate him, fuck it, build a fan base.
Right, and I actually tweeted today just comparing WWE and the UFC. Really? I tweeted the thing about how Jamal and Jiri ran into each other, and I also put like the UFC is like the greatest sitcom of all time.
No, really,
the greatest real life sitcom of all time. It's straight out of The Office.
But what's interesting too is that I was like, I took a step back when they had Sean O'Malley and
Aljo
step in the ring. I was like, I don't know if I really like that. But then when I think about it now, you're creating the story,
putting Sean Strickland and Dreykus next to each other,
because you're as you build it up, you can use all that footage to pertain into the promotion of it,
mm-hmm.
and then have these guys kind of go back and forth. It's part of the WWE circus.
Mm-hmm.
And so a part of me was like, I don't like that. That's like fucking cringe and shit. And then another part of me, the more I kind of read into it, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. It's entertainment. They're going to go in there and fight anyway. Fuck it.
Right. I'm all about it. I prefer like, obviously though, not everyone can do it, right? So that's always what it comes down to.
And I think that some of these guys, where I sometimes get, and you've seen me get pissed off, it's when you cross some of the lines of like morals and principles and shit.
Yeah, like a Colby.
Yeah, and there's a few other ones too. I think Sean Strickland's crossed a few lines as well. But everybody's, it is what it is.
Yeah. So as far as breaking down the card goes,
you got Umar or Merab?
I got You know, it's one of those where like my heart kind of goes with Merab.
Really? Why? Why?
I like Merab, like I kind of said, I think last week. I like his personality. I respect him as a fighter for sure.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, and
He's grown on me. He's grown on me, bro.
yeah, I think he's got kind of like that package we're looking for. I think Umar, on the other hand, is a super skilled fighter, but he doesn't have that package as far as full-on entertainment value. He's just kind of like, you know, got a name because of Khabib, which is fine. It's no doc there, but
He's got 0.
he's got that O. But I just like Merab as a champion a bit more. I find him a little bit more relatable. So,
yeah,
but I think it's a tough fight, you know? Like, I think Umar could win this for sure. 50-50
yeah,
pretty much.
You know, I went back and watched the Sandhagen fight, and I was like, Umar beat him, but it wasn't like he, like, awed me. Like, oh, wow, you're really the next best guy at this shit, you know? Mm-hmm. Where Sean O'Malley has had moments where he fucking awed me, like, whoa.
Right.
Aljo has had moments where he's like, damn, that dude's fucking good as fuck. Merab impressed me the last one because he just dominated every single round, and I like he was strategic around it. And you add all those other factors. I'm going for Merab too. I think he's just super gritty.
Mm-hmm.
He has that, like, he just doesn't stop, that bunny.
Yeah. Right.
Just keeps going. I'd like to see him. I want to see how he handles adversity. That's what I'd like to see from him.
Merab.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think Umar still has a lot of time. Even if Umar loses this, he still has a lot of time to grow, and he has all the right people around him, where he could be a champ. He could more than likely will be champion.
Yeah.
Now, I want to see Merab and Sean go back at it.
Okay. If I were to say one thing, because I think they're very closely matched, right? But I do think Umar holds the striking advantage. If I'm just keeping it honest. Yeah. I think wrestling-wise, we're going to have to find out. Mm-hmm. I don't think you could really say Umar's better, Merab's better. I think we're going to have to find out. I think, you know.
I think it's going to be a chess match. I think they're going to go like.
Yeah.
One or another. Like
right.
rolling. You know what I mean?
Scrambles, and it's kind of going to come down to who's got heart and grit.
Now, now here's a good question for you. The casuals want to see a knockout. Do you think that they're going to be like, oh, this is boring?
No, I think that Merab and Umar will fight like pretty tooth and nail. I don't think it'll be boring. Okay. I don't see that happening. Honestly.
You know, a lot of people don't like to see.
I could see, because I'm looking at the list right now. I could see Kevin Holland, Reinier de Ridder maybe being a little bit boring.
I think that if Kevin doesn't keep that standing, he's going to get submitted.
And I could see Reinier kind of like avoiding the fight on the feet and Kevin avoiding the fight on the ground, making it boring.
Okay, but then the minute, this is Kevin Holland's thing though too. I know we kind of jumped over here. Kevin Holland, that's the opening fight, right? Mm-hmm. On the main card. Kevin better not let fucking Reinier get him on the ground, because it's going to be over.
We'll see. I mean, Kevin is a black belt.
Is he?
He's a black belt.
Why is it every time I see him on the ground though, he's like, nah, I can't see.
You're right, because of the wrestling.
He
gets dominated by wrestlers.
He does. He's explosive on the feet, and he likes to showboat.
Yeah.
I love that about. But if Reinier, that's not his thing. He's gonna try to take his ass down, bro.
And I think also Kevin's gonna try to avoid that, and I think Kevin knows his plan to victory is on the feet. I think Rainier's plan to victory is on the ground. So there's going to be a clash here, for sure. I think, though, that it's closer on the ground. If Kevin goes on the ground, it also might be boring, because I don't think Reinier might be able to submit him as easily as you think. All right. We'll see. Right. We'll have to see. You got any pick there? I mean,
I want to see Kevin knock him the fuck out and show him, hey, you're not on our level.
Yeah.
And he better have like fucking. I want to see that. I feel like his Achilles heel is his takedown defense.
Right.
I want to see him step in there and be like, no, I practiced at this shit, and I'm making sure this motherfucker's not going to take me down, and I'm going to force him to fight me.
Right. Now,
I think if he takes it down, he submits him, bro.
Okay. So we'll have to see. Now, a couple X factors.
I'm rooting for Kevin.
Okay. I guess you could say I'm rooting for Kevin too then.
Yeah.
You know, but I think it's a great fight. I think it's going to be funny that I just said it could be boring, but I like the matchup. It just might not deliver, if that makes sense. It's a great matchup, I think, on paper. It may not deliver, though. But I just want to say one other thing, unless you had something to say to that.
I don't know.
Okay. So the UFC posted the check-in weights again for fight week. So we know what these guys weighed starting like yesterday or starting Monday.
Oh,
So
okay.
to let you know the check-in weight, Kevin Holland, 193.5. They're fighting at 185. So Kevin's got like 8.5 pounds to cut. Nothing. And then Reinier weighs 202.8. So he's got about, 17.8 pounds to cut. It's definitely, achievable. So, but I would say that Rainier's coming in 10 pounds heavier than Kevin. That's Kevin's problem, bro. He's very light, and these guys are very physical. Like, he's fighting a guy who walks around 10 pounds heavier than him.
Right. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, so I think
what makes him more, like, elusive and fast.
But he's not, like, disciplined enough to cut down to 170. This is Kevin's problem. He's in the middle because he's, like, I think he lacks that discipline.
He's a big guy. I mean, how tall is he? Like 6'1"?
6'3", but De Ridder is 6'4".
Yeah, but that's why I think they're in the middleweight. You don't see a lot of 6'2". I guess you do see a couple in welterweight.
Yeah.
That's a good. I mean.
Well, also that's
fucking crazy to cut weight the way they do. I couldn't even understand. That's crazy to me.
Yeah, and that's kind of an argument why the UFC needs to maybe do like a 170, 180, and 190 pound division instead of like, because the 70 to 185, that's a 15-pound jump. That's why Kevin's kind of in the middle. Like, he walks around at 193, so cutting down to 170 is kind of a lot too. But his only other option is the 185.
All right.
Yeah.
I got Kevin.
Okay. Beneil Dariush, Renato Moicano.
Renato came back and said, Beneil is fucking old. I'm going to beat that old guy up.
Yeah, I saw something like that.
He's just comical. That's why I want to kind of go back and watch the media day thing. I want to hear his whole interview. I only watched like a clip of it.
Mm-hmm.
He's entertaining. He's entertaining.
Moicano's entertaining. Yeah. Good fight right here. I think it's kind of obvious, right? I think everybody's kind of riding with Moicano, thinking he's going to pull this one off.
You know what's interesting? He said this last year, Moicano. He said that he started taking this fight game more seriously. I think it was after the Jalen Turner fight. And he goes, before, I just wanted to go in there and brawl. He goes, what I did is I kind of put myself in check, and I started trying to sharpen up my whole MMA game. Because he's good on the ground, too.
Yeah, that's where he's the best. Turner,
but he wanted to stand there. He wanted to give everybody a show, and he was getting some losses.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was just going in there and just throwing caution to the wind, kind of like how Bobby Green is.
Right.
And he goes, I started getting more tactical and having a little bit more fight IQ. And you can see that in some of his fights as he's gone on this win streak. So I think that's what gets him over the hump. I don't think Dariush is going to be a walk in the park. He's a veteran, and he's really good as well. But I think he's been knocked out twice. These past two fights. It's never good for a UFC fighter.
Yeah. I'm going with, I think Moicano's probably going to take it. He's also coming off a win. Like you kind of said, Dariush is coming off a loss, and you said that's a KO loss he's coming off? Two in a row. So,
Lost, he got knocked out by Arman.
Mm-hmm.
And then he got knocked out by, I can find out, but he got knocked out too by somebody else.
Okay. I guess the main question on my mind is, when does Moicano get that title shot? I wouldn't say he really gets it off of this one.
No. Because he's like, let me see what the rankings are real quick.
But what's the holdup on Moicano? Like, why isn't he getting like a higher ranked contender?
Well, he just got into the rankings too, though.
Did he?
Yeah, he's ranked number. Oh, he's right under Beneil. I believe it's 10 and 9. So
okay. So who's like a top 5?
He needs to fight like a.
He beats Beneil. Who in the top 5 can he fight?
So you got Dustin, you got Gaethje, you got Oliveira, you got Chandler, you got Dan Hooker, Gamrot.
Him versus Oliveira.
Yeah, I like that.
But Oliveira is kind of a big name.
Yeah.
So him versus Gaethje, him versus Poirier.
Gamrot too.
Yeah. I think him and Gamrot are at the same gym though.
So yeah, Dariush lost to Charles Oliveira, and then he got knocked out by Tsarukyan. And before that, he was on a win streak, bro. He was like on a 7-fight win streak. He was on a fucking riding a high. and then he lost two knockouts in a row.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember he was like all in this, like he was in title talks before he got knocked out by Charles or submitted, whatever it was.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna. It's gonna be it's a great test for him, Moicano.
Okay.
Great.
His age is showing here. What's his name? Dariush's age is kind of showing here because he's coming in super light. He's only 12 pounds over. So
when did they release that? I didn't even know about that.
They don't always do it, but I've known to check up on this since like since UFC 310, since Brian Battle missed weight, and I knew he was going to miss weight. Yeah.
Okay.
That's when Max Holloway, he did his picks on YouTube, and Max Holloway was the one who revealed it to me. Funny enough, speaking of the weights, because Jiri Prochazka always says like he wants to drop down to middleweight, right? But funny enough, he's coming into fight week heavier than Jamahal Hill.
What is he at, 225?
216, Jamal's 214. But keep in mind, these guys do weigh in with clothes on, apparently. Because I asked Randy Brown about the weight, and he's like, that was me with clothes on. So I think they just stand on the scale with clothes.
How much does clothes add? A pound?
2. Yeah, something like that. So I think that's the next fight, right? We just talked about Beneil, so we got Jamal, Jiri. Let me say this one. Yeah. A lot of people are sleeping on Jamal because of, like I said, he leans into what fans interact with, which is negativity, right? And his kind of like
likes to clap back. His
cocky demeanor.
Yeah.
And he claps back. But make no mistake.
Sometimes too.
Huh?
He's a little delusional sometimes too, like his whole reaction to the Alex Pieta fight.
Right. I will say some of his takes are kind of bad for sure. But with that being said, I don't think skill-wise, I think skill-wise across the board, he's better than Jiri. If you say boxing, if you say jiu-jitsu, right? If you say wrestling, I believe across the board he's better than Jiri. But Jiri has a different type of fighting style, which is like his whole like feng shui to it too. You know what I mean? And his spiritual fucking like heart. So
Bruce Lee.
So he has the ability to overcome all of that. You know what I'm saying? Against Jamal. But I'm just saying on paper, Jamal is a better boxer. Jamal is a better wrestler. Like, so let's see, because everyone's saying Yuri's going to win. And I think Jamal should be the favorite. I think Jiri has a lot more to overcome than Jamal.
You know what the line is on that?
I don't know, but every poll I do, Jiri wins it.
You know, I at first was kind of thinking...
I'm going to look up the odds real quick.
I was at first thinking Jiri, but the more I think about it, even like listening to you, the more now I believe that Jamahal Hill pulls it off.
Mm-hmm.
Ball's minus 125. It's close.
Yeah, minus 130 plus 110 on this one.
Yeah. So, I mean...
So Jamal is the favorite, like I said.
And maybe they're putting in everything that you're talking about.
Yeah, the technique and...
Yeah, his wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
I think, you know what, I was going at first last week for Jiri, but I'm switching my stance and I'm going with the homie Jamahal Hill. Okay,
let's go with the homie Jamahal Hill. So shout out to Jamahal Hill. He gets a lot of hate. A lot of his haters are blinded right now and they don't see it.
I'd like to see him get a clean KO in the first round.
Yeah, that would be sick. But I think it's going to be a solid fight. Really looking forward to it. What?
Jiri will stand with them.
Oh, Yuri's going to stand with him for sure. I mean, Jiri never really takes people down. When have you seen that?
So that's what I like about this fight. It's going to be a stand-up match. And you know what? We'll more than likely see a knockout. And I think that your assessment about the skills was what will get him over the hump. And the fact that Jiri is going to be willing to exchange with him will put him in a bad position, and then Jamahal Hill can catch him.
Let me go as far as to say this, right? Because sometimes it's fun to look back, and if you can call it pretty correctly, it's kind of sick. So let me say this. I think Jamal's going to get Jiri in a lot of trouble. I think Yuri's going to be in a lot of trouble in that fight. And the technique, as far as, like, you know, Jamal just pressuring him, I think you're going to see, like a wilting Jiri. You know how, like, when Sean Strickland fought Paulo Costa and Paulo was backing up the whole time just getting pressured? I think that might be how it plays out, and you might get a nasty KO.
And do you think any of them will use leg kicks in the fight as a tool?
Well, Jamal is known for... He has great kicks. So I think Jamal will. I think, again, he's going to be winning on the kick side. And I think Yuri's going to be trying to even it out by kicking back. You know what I mean? But I think Jamal's got the better kicks. Yeah. So,
let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
Come on, homie. Don't let us down.
Great fight.
Yeah, don't let us down, doggy.
What's crazy is that Jamal's only got 12 wins and 2 losses.
In his career.
Yeah, that's only 14 fights. Like, people are talking about Umar hasn't done anything. Umar's at least 18-0. Umar's got 4 more fights than Jamal. And Jamal was a champ like 2 fights ago.
Yeah, was that the interim?
Yeah, Jamal he became the undisputed against Glover.
He got injured. That's right.
Right, but he won the undisputed against Glover at like, I think maybe his 12th fight.
Yeah, he put it on Glover too.
Yeah. But Yuri's 35-1. So when people say CTE, I think, if anything, Yuri's got the CTE. Jamal's only got 14 fights.
There was that clip that Jamal dropped on his podcast. He was all like, man, I don't know. He was talking shit.
Yeah. What was he saying?
I'll see if I can find it real quick. What's the next fight? I'll see if I can find it, though.
I'm just going to look at... Oh, let me bring something up while you're looking at it. Little side note, but it's a part of this, right? And I'd love to get your take. SD Dumas. Are you familiar?
Okay.
He's out of his fight. He was on the fucking phone with 4 Extras like 3-4 days ago. Adam22 just posted a video on the YouTube channel, like an 18-minute video of him arguing with 4 Extras. And then I think he pulled out of his fight like the next fucking day. I texted him. I said, "Yo, is everything good? Why'd you pull out? Like, what happened?" No response.
Really?
Yeah, no response.
Texted him or you DM'd him?
I texted him. And he also, dude, we were trying to get that interview in so much, and he keeps honey dicking me.
Honey dicking?
Dude, I call it a honey dick when you like commit, but then you pull back, like you don't fully commit. Like it's like this is a honey dick. Like, yo, you down for an interview? Yeah, I'm down. All right, what time you down for? Ghost until like 6 p.m. the next day. Like, that's a straight honey dick.
That's a little unprofessional, too.
It's like, dude, don't tell me you're down. Or even this, like, I'm down tomorrow. Hit me tomorrow. Hit him tomorrow. Ghost all day long till like 6 p.m. Tells me to hit him up the next day. I'm like, bro.
It's unprofessional, too, though.
So I kind of, I want to do an interview with him, but it's so hard because he keeps, like, wasting my days.
Yeah.
So... I can't really plan it with him. I just say, yeah, I'm down, name the time. And if he does, and he hasn't named the time, he keeps not naming the time.
I don't know. In my opinion, it's super unprofessional. He goes, yeah, y'all must forget. This is Jamahal Hill. Y'all must forget.
They got you in favor to win right now.
I don't pay attention to no odds, bro. I don't pay attention to no odds. What I do know is y'all must have forgot. It's gonna be fun getting back out there, mixing it up, and finding everybody who the fuck I am. Everything's feeling great. Everything's feeling locked in. I'm ready to go, man.
Let's go, Jamal. Let's go.
Must have forgot, motherfuckers.
I want to say one last thing about Jamal.
My bad.
What?
Can't cuss. I forgot.
Oh no, it's all good now. One other thing about Jamal. Before he even became champion, I was fucking with him heavy, and I will admit some of his bad takes have got me like forgetting about some of those moments back then. But I remember like before he became champ, I was like, damn, this guy's a pretty good fighter. Like before all the antics.
Yeah.
I was looking at him and I was like, this guy's a pretty good fighter. So I haven't forgot about you, Jamahal Hill. Anyway, Merab Dvalishvili, Umar Nurmagomedov. We already broke it down. Is there even anything else to say?
Can you say the last name,
Merab Dvalishvili?
Oh, hold on. Merab
Dvalishvili?
Dvalishvili.
It's kind of good, but you're putting like an A in the middle of it. Like you're like Dvalishvili.
My bad, Merab. Merab, don't beat me up, dog.
Merab.
I want to do a skit with you. You teaching me how to say it, bro.
Merab. One more time. Merab Dvalishvili.
Merab Dvalishvili.
Can you say Umar Nurmagomedov?
Umar Nurmagomedov.
Okay, that's kind of good. Islam Makhachev, Arman Tsarukyan.
Let me just kind of my initial.
You can. I got a couple thoughts about Arman.
Okay. I'll just say this. I think that Islam is chasing his legacy.
Mm-hmm.
Chasing his legacy. 14 fights in a row. Anderson Silva, one of my favorite fighters. 16, the record, which is crazy to think. And I don't think when I went back and watched the Arman versus Charles fight, it was a pretty close fight. He didn't dominate Charles Oliveira. He almost had a couple moments where he got submitted as well. And I think Islam's just he's gonna be a legend in this sport. He's gonna be a fucking GOAT. And this is just another step into that next goal of his. Yeah. And I'm excited to see the fight. Excited to see how it goes down. I think Arman's, proved that he deserves to be here. He's impressed me too. I like he's a very well-rounded fighter. And I'm interested to see how these two now line up after been 5 years of them competing and building and growing to show us now how much they more have evolved. But I think Islam's going to have the edge for sure.
I think Islam definitely has the edge. Kind of all around. I think he's the bigger guy. He's the more skilled guy. Let me see how I want to break this down. I think the main takeaways for me going into the fight that I'm kind of like, thinking about a lot is Arman has a couple like weird quotes going around. And one of them is like, I think first off, he says like he doesn't care about being champion. Like it's like whatever to him. So it's funny, like once you get up to that, now it's like whatever to you. It's like almost as if you're like pushing off that pressure. Mm-hmm. Like you don't want that big pressure of like it means something to you because you don't want to carry that burden. So it seems like he's walking back and be like, it doesn't mean anything to me, but it's cool if it happens. Because I guess like, I don't know, he's playing this card now where it's like, I'm like this rich kid who my life is fine with or without like winning the title.
Interesting.
I've been seeing like things like even in media day, I saw something where it's like, what would you be doing if you weren't fighting in the UFC? And it's like hanging out on my island. Like he's giving off this weird ass rich demeanor all of a sudden. And I know he's always had money, but I'm just saying he's leaning into it or something, like not caring about like being champ. Number 2 is that he said once he becomes champ, if he wins, that he's only going to be chasing money fights. So again, he just doesn't really care about the sport. It's seeming kind of like odd.
Well, it feels like everybody's trying to take a page from Ilia Topuria. Because I kind of feel like that's how Ilia is. Like, I just want the big money fights. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, Ilia does have that, like, we've talked about it before. I'm better than everybody else.
He's also got that little rich kind of like thing going on.
Entitled. Yeah, entitled.
The Floyd Mayweather type thing.
Yeah. Well, Floyd Mayweather, he came from humble beginnings.
No, but they got the money Mayweather persona.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, once you get that, but once you get there, but Mayweather had so many wins, you know what I mean? Like, that's different.
A little different.
Brand yourself, right? These guys are still trying to scratch just the surface.
Yeah, but Arman's already made it apparently financially.
and hey, more power to you if you have.
No, yeah, it's all good.
Islam,
Islam's rich too, but he never says the title doesn't mean anything to him. That's my point.
Because it does mean something.
Right. The legacy means everything to him. And Arman seems to like be wiping out. Legacy means nothing to him anymore.
It is kind of weird. Like because that's the reason why you train and wake up every day.
Correct.
Even the average person that's not a fighter that has goals with whatever arena they're in, business, social media, fitness, we can go down the train, right?
Right.
Of things. You wake up every day and you go to sleep hopefully pretty early. You're trying to do all the right things in your life because you're trying to achieve certain things in your life to get to the next level of whatever that case may be. In this instance, it's the belt, or it's the fighters in front of you. It's the point to become champion.
Right.
That there's a bro. That means something.
It means something.
I mean,
that's what they're all kind of fighting for, apparently.
They did.
So that's where I'm kind of like, if you don't care about that stuff, Islam cares about his legacy more than anything, and it doesn't matter how rich Islam has been already before winning the title. He cares about his legacy. So if you're telling me you don't care about your legacy, you don't care about like being a good champion, Islam does.
Yeah, I'm interested. He was talking about that at Media Day today.
I think Media Day, the quote about living on his island was brought up. Somebody said like, "What would you be doing if you weren't a fighter?" And he's like, "Drinking on my island." Like Islam wouldn't even be drinking if he was on an island. And so Arman's just kind of like putting that out there. And then from a different interview, like from a podcast,
he's young too.
It got clipped.
I give him a little bit of a pass. He's young too. He's like what, 28,
something like that.
Yeah. I mean, get a little. I mean, I don't know. Let's see, because I know he works hard. He's training hard. You know, he's gotten into his position of doing all the right things and getting some streaks under. So, I mean,
I'll end it with this kind of. Once the guys get to the top, something I've noticed, once they get to the top, which is like that title shot, you really kind of see certain things come out, right? Because there is a lot of pressure. He's getting a lot of interviews, and so the truth happens to slip out here and there. And so I think sometimes, when you hear something like where he says like, I don't really care about being like champion, I think you kind of see those are little cracks in like your confidence, like getting shelled out from all the content you're doing, and I think it just comes with the pressure. And so I've noticed it with other fighters too, where like not even a title fight, but like MVP Ian Gary, like MVP was cracking on Ian Gary as far as like the build up to that fight. Like MVP was breaking in the press conferences and like he's smiling at him, but they're supposed to have beef going into it. Like a lot of guys will talk that shit, and then once they get up to that moment, if it's really big, they start to like make it less than what it was. Like I'm elaborating, but let me just say this part.
MVP kind of air out of it.
Yeah, they sucked the air out of it because MVP was blowing up this big old balloon with Ian Gary, right? BBL Gary blowing up the balloon, and then once he gets to a face to face with him, he starts smiling. Yeah, and it's like you're just sucking the air out of the beef because you're scared. Not to call MVP scared, but that's what you give off.
I would say this to add on top of this conversation that there are certain guys in every arena of sports. They just want to be the best. They don't give a fuck whose feelings they hurt. They don't give a fuck what's in front of them. They are so laser focused. Tom Brady had it. Kobe had it. Jordan had it. Anderson Silva had it for a little while. GSP had it.
Right.
GSP, Khabib has it. These guys. Islam. They're just so laser focused that everything else just doesn't matter because I want to be the best of fucking all time.
Mm-hmm.
And certain guys just have that. I don't know if Arman, hearing what you're saying, I don't know if he has that.
I'm seeing the crack in his fucking persona. Yeah, I'm putting it out there.
And even a lot of times too with Sean O'Malley, it was like, bro, like I felt like a lot of the antics, you kind of lost your vision of being the best of all time. And now you have the loss. You got to start all over.
Yeah.
That's the difference between winning and losing. You got to start all fucking over of trying to be the greatest of all time.
Right. As far as building up that momentum, that streak.
I'll never forget what he said. He acted like, even though he would reign so long, he always knew there was someone coming after him. And that's what fed him.
Who?
GSP.
Oh, yeah. GSP was a great champion.
Because what he said, he goes, when you're waking up in like silk sheets and you fucking, can afford anything you have anymore, what's motivating you now?
Mm-hmm.
What's do I really want to go to the gym today?
Even like, let me say this one too, because you didn't name drop him. Ilia Topuria, he's rich, right? He's got that persona, but let me tell you, he cares about that title. He cares about his legacy. And
he seems to be, and it's the competitiveness. That competitiveness that you have to like, nah, dog, I'm the best.
Right.
I'm the best.
He never once has said, doesn't matter if I don't win the belt.
Right. And a lot of it starts from there. Like, and so, I mean, with answers like that, I mean, I don't know. I mean, we're about to find out.
Because I think they said something like, we'll end it right here, but I think they said something like, how much does it mean to you, Arman, to like become the champion? And I think Arman's like, well, it doesn't mean that much. Like, I think, and like, it was one of those answers. Instead of being like, it's everything to me. If I don't win this, like, I'm fucked. Like, it wasn't like that. It was like, well, I mean, to be honest, it's not like what you're making it out to be. Like, if I win, I win. But if I lose, then I still have potential. It was one of those things.
Yeah, no, you gotta say it with your chest.
Yeah, facts.
You gotta say it with your chest.
All
but
right.
You did say I'm gonna be Islam with a secret move. I mean, I don't know what that.
I know. We'll see this fucking secret move. Let's see if you can hit it on him.
All right, so we both got Islam.
Yeah, we both got Islam.
I am keeping my eyes out on Zachary Reese. I really think he's a really good potential.
So he's got that short notice opponent.
Yeah, I think that he reminds me of Joe Alvarez, Esteban Ribovics. Like, I think these are guys we're going to really be watching out for. Zach Reese gets another win. He's going to be in that top 15. We're going to be having a new crew good of guys. Like, we're talking about welterweight. We're going to be talking about, like, you know, the lightweight division. We're going to have a crew of guys. We're going to be like, all right, here's our top 20 guys now. So I'm really excited to see him fight. The whole card stacked, bro. Are you going to be watching some of these undercards?
Yeah, I'm going to be tuning in. You know what's crazy is we couldn't even really.
Text you, dog.
All right, yeah.
Hit
me up. Maybe we could even do some type of stream because my homie's actually gonna be at the event, so I'm just gonna be by myself watching the fights.
You know what's crazy is like I was gonna buy the tickets and I got sick and I was like, you know what? It's $750 for the nosebleed. Grant Dawson was the other guy. I was high on him and he got that loss for his Bobby Green, but he did get another win, so I can see him. He needs that win.
We also got Peyton Talbot.
Homegirl, Peyton Talbot too. Eileen Perez.
Eileen.
Yeah. Hey,
I fuck with Eileen.
She gets one of the best booties in the UFC.
Yeah.
And she likes to twerk.
Because you mentioned Zach Reese, let me say this. Because Zach Reese 8-1, right? Asmat Bekaev 18-3, and I'll say this: Asmat, I believe, is certified. So if Zach Reese, and apparently he's a minus 230 favorite over Zach Reese on Tapology. So let me say this: if Zach Reese can beat Asmat, Zach Reese is certified.
All right. Oh, I like this now.
Yeah, but I'll say right now, Asmat's pretty much certified.